I think if it hadn't been for music, I would be dead right now. You know, one of the reasons that I got out of teaching was because of the suicide attempt. And we think it's a suicide attempt. I'm sure it was a suicide attempt. I was in a coma for 4 days afterwards, so I drove my truck into a telephone pole. And I know that if I didn't find an outlet in music and in art, then I would be dead. When I first got back from Iraq, I was there for the initial invasion, across the border in March of 2003. I got a medical discharge, and then my unit, while I was waiting to final out, redeployed back to Iraq 6 months after they'd been home, just because there's not a lot of flight medics in the Army. When I first started doing this, it was pure selfishness. You know, I had some PTSD stuff going on, and I was able to work through it. Kind of felt like I was alone. Felt like I was by myself. And loneliness can be a terrible, terrible thing. But then I started to create. I had a piano and a guitar, and I would play this piano and I'd play this guitar, and I'd write songs, but I'd just stay home. And if I felt bad, I would play guitar. And then one day, a friend of mine drugged me to an open mic. There was like 8 people there, and I was afraid to get on stage and play. And I went and got back in my car and went home, and did that a couple times. And then finally I got up and played. I found out that as soon as my fingers hit the strings, people were stuck for 4 minutes listening to what I had to say. Even if people are just relating to it, it kind of lets them know, hey, if I can relate to this, it means that I'm not the only one that feels like this. Because that's the hardest part. You know, guys start to feel like they're alone, and that's one of the reasons I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of guys are hurting themselves. And I had people really telling me that our music was helping them, and the music was helping them, and they were getting better. We'll go as far as our fans will take us. I would have never even thought that we'd get a chance to play for a presidential inauguration, you know? It gives me a chance to talk about PTSD, and it gives me a chance to make people aware that it's a problem.